In the world of Moonshiners, the discovery of personal struggles is often overshadowed by the excitement of high-stakes bootlegging. But sometimes, the real story is what happens off-screen. The question of Digger's health, a character beloved for his wit and rugged charm, has remained in the shadows for some time. Fans have long speculated about his condition, piecing together hints from his behavior, his occasional absences, and the little we learn through his interactions with others. But the truth about Diva's condition, what it really is, how it affects him, and what it means for the show, is something that fans are only just beginning to understand. Early signs and subtle clues Diva's health issues weren't always visible. In the earlier seasons of Moonshiners, he was a robust, capable figure who could be relied upon to manage the dangerous work of moonshining. However, if you look closely, the signs were there, subtle enough that only the most observant viewers might have picked up on them. For instance, there were moments when Diva seemed out of breath after a long day's work, or when his voice would crack unexpectedly. These minor occurrences didn't seem alarming at first, but slowly began to paint a picture of a man who wasn't quite as strong as he appeared. Digger, known for his indomitable spirit, would brush these off with humor or a tough exterior, but as the seasons wore on, the cracks in his facade became more visible. The turning point in Diva's health came during a particularly stressful season, when the pressure of both the moonshining business and his personal life began to take its toll. Viewers could see his stamina beginning to wane, and his sharp wit started to dull, replaced by moments of forgetfulness and fatigue. What followed was a gradual and painful decline that seemed to catch everyone, including his close friend Tim, off guard. It wasn't until the episode where Digger was visibly struggling to keep up with Tim during a routine moonshine run that things took a darker turn. His hesitation to make sharp turns or climb into the back of the truck seemed odd for someone so seasoned. There was a moment, a brief but telling moment, when Digger nearly stumbled while loading up gear, a mistake that even a seasoned moonshiner wouldn't make unless something was seriously wrong. That was when Tim began to ask the questions we'd all been wondering. Digger's pride might have prevented him from being open about his condition, but Tim knew his friend well enough to see that something wasn't right. And so, Tim pushed him gently, finally asking the question that fans had all been speculating about. What's going on with Digger? The diagnosis was later revealed that Digger had been struggling with an autoimmune condition. More specifically, he had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, RA, a chronic inflammatory disorder that affects the joints, leading to pain, swelling, and often severe disability. In Digger's case, the disease was progressing more rapidly than expected, affecting not only his ability to do the physical labor that he loved, but also his mental clarity and energy levels. The news came as a shock to fans who had known Digger as a larger-than-life character. RA, as many who suffer from it know, doesn't just attack the body, it can attack the spirit too. The pain, fatigue, and uncertainty about the future began to chip away at Diva's resilience. His condition meant that, over time, even the most basic tasks, like lifting barrels of moonshine or working on a still, became increasingly difficult for him. What was once a thriving business now became a daily reminder of his limitations. His pride kept him from admitting how much his body was failing him, but the strain was visible on his face whenever the camera lingered for a moment too long. Digger was, in essence, fighting two battles. One against his illness, and one against the sense of losing his identity as a moonshiner. Impact on Digger's life. Rheumatoid arthritis doesn't just affect the joints. It can lead to systemic complications, including issues with the lungs, heart, and eyes, all of which can contribute to the sense of helplessness and fatigue that Digger experienced. Though Digger attempted to maintain his work schedule and keep up with the rigorous demands of moonshining, There were days when the pain was so unbearable that he couldn't continue. It was clear to those close to him that he had become more withdrawn, less willing to engage in the casual banter that once defined his interactions. Fans of the show were introduced to the idea that illness can be a source of strength, but also vulnerability, a concept Digger had never truly embraced. His desire to maintain the illusion of invulnerability had started to fracture, but even in the midst of his personal battles, Digger's strength of character never. He sought treatment, consulted with doctors, and explored new ways of managing the disease. Yet, the emotional toll it took on him was often as difficult as the physical one. Moonshining, after all, was not just a business for him, it was a way of life. And now, that way of life seemed increasingly out of reach. The emotional and psychological toll of the less discussed aspects of Digger's condition was the emotional strain it caused. Being a moonshiner meant being tough, self-reliant, and constantly in control. For Digger, however, being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis represented a loss of control. He had always prided himself on his physical ability and his mental toughness. This diagnosis stripped him of that identity, forcing him to confront vulnerabilities that were far outside his comfort zone. Digger began to struggle with anxiety and depression. It wasn't just about the pain. It was about the fear of losing everything he had worked for. The moonshine operation that had been his livelihood and passion was now threatened by his illness. Worse, he worried that his friends and family, Tim especially, might feel burdened by his condition. The guilt of not being able to contribute as he once did weighed heavily on him, though Tim was always there to offer support. Over time, however, Digger began to open up more about his feelings. The tight-knit community of Moonshiners and their families became a lifeline for him, offering not only practical help, but also emotional support. Tim's unwavering friendship provided a sense of stability in his life, reminding him that he was valued for more than his physical contributions. Slowly but surely, Digger began to adjust to his new reality, even if it meant acknowledging that the work he loved so much would no longer be a daily part of his life. What the show reveals about resilience to Digger's health struggles became more than just a plotline in Moonshiners. They became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. His refusal to quit, even in the face of a debilitating illness, mirrored the grit and determination that viewers had come to admire. While the disease may have taken a physical toll on him, Digger's inner strength remained intact. His ability to adapt and continue fighting for what he believed in, despite his circumstances, was a powerful message for anyone facing adversity. While the show itself was initially focused on the high stakes and often dangerous life of moonshining, Digger's journey shifted the narrative to include themes of vulnerability, resilience, and personal growth. His battle with rheumatoid arthritis became a central aspect of the show's emotional core, highlighting the importance of support, acceptance, and finding new ways to cope with life's challenges. Moving forward as the show progresses, it's clear that Digger's condition will continue to play a significant role in his life. The question of whether he will be able to continue moonshining at the level he once did remains unanswered. But what is certain is that Digger's story is far from over. The producers of Moonshiners have made it clear that they will not shy away from showcasing the realities of living with a chronic illness, and Digger's journey will continue to unfold in front of the cameras. Digger, the future is uncertain, but his determination remains unwavering. He may no longer be able to carry the heavy barrels of moonshine or keep up with the grueling demands of the business, but his spirit is unbroken. As fans, we will continue to support him in his journey, no matter how it unfolds, and perhaps gain a new appreciation for the challenges faced by those battling chronic illnesses. In the end, Digger's story is not just about a moonshiner and his fight against illness. It's about the enduring power of friendship, resilience, and the courage to face life's toughest challenges head-on. The truth about Digger's condition, painful as it may be, has brought us closer to understanding not just the man behind the still, but the person who never gave up, no matter how sick he became.